Budget Committee to order at 5:33 on Tuesday, June 3rd. Those present: Chief, Matt, Kevin, Lisa, Paul, Derek, Tim, Nate. We have no visitors from the public. And I guess we'll start with the meeting minutes from 5:27. Did everyone receive the minutes? And is there any discussion?
Yes, I'll move this is Tim, I'll move the minutes of the May 27th meeting to the floor for discussion. I just had a couple things on there. One, attendance. It says Matt Osher was here at the last meeting. I don't think Matt was here last meeting. Everybody else on the list was here. And then down in the old business, second paragraph, Paul Blaisdell asked what the committee would like to discuss. Paul Blaisdell continued, stating that some members of the committee met at Deputy Robinson's house to discuss the Londonderry substation. I don't think that's exactly what happened.
No.
They all rode together. So I'm not...
We actually...
Yeah, Kathy was upset with that, because you can't have a meeting without posting.
Right.
And that's what the minutes say.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think you said that in the meeting.
How many people qualify as a meeting?
4. A quorum. So what he's saying is we did not meet at Deputy Robinson's house.
So
We
technically
met
was the
at-
tour meeting then?
Yes.
So that should have been open to the public.
It should have been posted.
We did not meet at his house. We rode together from Park Street, so we attended
Does that whole sentence, can it just be the, I guess down below it, you know, Kevin inquired who was able to attend the meeting, and list everybody who was at the meeting.
Yeah, that should say, Paul B. continued stating that some members of the committee met at the Londonderry substation, or to tour the Londonderry substation.
That would be okay. Met to tour the Londonderry substation
On whatever date.
on May 19th, 2025.
Right. Okay. Any other changes?
So we're just gonna get rid of the Deputy Robinson's house thing because you guys all carpooled and then...
We never
Park
met
Street.
at his house.
Yeah,
And I
you just
don't
went
know
back to
where-
Park Street.
You
and then-
never stated that either.
No, I
So-
didn't. I don't know why I would have. Unless he was going to offer us beers afterwards.
That I missed out. You know, that's a weird one.
Yeah, so Paul B. continued stating that some members of the committee met to tour the Londonderry substation on May 19th. And attendees include Commissioner Sattler, Chief Setar, Lisa, Nate, Paul, and Deputy Robinson.
Right, so that
And
last
that-
statement was fine.
Right, that roster was correct. Anything else?
Were these published?
No. The corrected one.
So I make a motion, we accept the corrected minutes of 5:27.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? And Matt and Kevin. No, Matt did not vote, right?
Matt was
Because you were
not
not
the
here.
last one.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw out what's on kind of my agenda, and with the knowledge that Nate has to leave at 6:30, we'll decide how we want to handle it. But what I'd like to discuss tonight is the final plans of Sanborn Road, starting a public outreach program, and we're initiating that, and then start talking again on Park Street. So, any preference?
Start with Sanborn Road and
Okay.
get that done, and then we should have a final plan.
Here, pass these out. So I'll read you, I had a communication from Joe, our architect or designer. Given all the parameters that we talked about at the last meeting, he was able to shave off roughly 560 square feet of the living side of the quarters and 70% off of the mezzanine, because the shop had to get smaller to accommodate the smaller size on the living side. So he just wants to say that since mechanical, electrical, and plumbing have not really looked at this, some of what he's taken out may have to go back in. And I noticed when I got this plan, one of the things I don't know how he reduced this, but the sprinkler room is gone, and I know that probably will still have to be there at some point. But that's as much as he could shave off without affecting the flow of the building.
Do you know where it came from?
A little bit of everywhere. The bedrooms are all smaller. Everything is smaller except
Bathrooms.
the bathrooms,
Yeah,
which are required to be a certain size. Everything else is smaller on the living side.
And the only change on the apparatus side was the size of the mezzanine?
Well, actually, the shop is not as big as before, and so therefore the mezzanine is smaller as well.
So the 560 square feet deduction, does that include the shop?
No, the 500 and, well, let me see what it says here. 560 square feet off of the living quarters side of the building, roughly 70 feet off of the mezzanine,
7 feet or
70,
square
70
feet?
square feet off of the mezzanine. And then the shop is smaller, so the total, I guess, is 629 square feet in total off of the overall footprint of the building.
The only thing also, Chief, that's not showing here is the sprinkler.
Right.
But you can still put it in, right?
Yes, yeah, the space is there.
Where would the sprinkler
Oh, wait a
go?
minute, no, because he shrunk it. There's no
I
space.
think it's still going in that same
It's
spot.
still going the
You gotta
same
move that
spot,
door.
just
Oh,
move
over
the door.
Okay, got it.
So, one thing I noticed is there just the one storage closet, the 15 square foot custodial?
Yeah.
You have to remember, in this building, we have that whole mezzanine area.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking at option C. And that did not have the sprinkler room either.
Well, I think you have an older copy. I have a newer copy of option C with me.
I saw it on, I think, what was the latest copy?
Yeah.
Or previous to this.
Let me find it. There it is. I didn't print any more of these because I thought I already passed them out to you guys.
I'll give it a,
I'm just gonna,
See this?
Your old one is the little,
So, seems like we might be able to see the sprinkler room exactly where it was. moving
Yeah.
forward.
They'll add that in. I don't think it's anything we have to worry about because it's the.
Do we nitpick things like door swings? I think that would be
That will,
required.
we'll,
wouldn't it?
we'll fix the door swings and security doors once we finalize the floor plan.
Okay.
I'll sit down with the guys and say, how do you want this door to swing?
Pocket doors everywhere.
In
Save
the
space,
block.
save 7,
They do.
14 square feet, I think.
Well, I was just looking at the
It
latest
does
plan,
make
the
your walls
decon.
thicker though.
The decon's got the door swinging out into the apparatus bay
Yeah,
versus the previous plan has it swinging in.
we'll, like I said, we'll,
Well,
these
I'm
are all
wondering-
minor
I
things.
wonder if that's because that room needs egress. So the
I
doors
don't-
have to swing out for egress? I don't know, okay, just,
Yeah, the previous plan it swung in.
I think he did exactly what we asked him.
He did.
You try.
So was there any conversation about cost per square foot?
Yes, general, for the building, just the building itself, the, not counting site work or anything else, they're in the $365 per square foot. There's a lot that depends upon that, though. We did not pick all of the finishes that need to be picked or decide what we're gonna use for finishes, and he sent me a spreadsheet of that, which I haven't really looked at yet. So I imagine whether, are we gonna put vinyl floors down, or we're just gonna epoxy the cement and call it good, things like that, you know. I remember the base of the wall, the cove, is we gonna have vinyl cove, or are we gonna put ceramic tile up as the cove? Things like that. I haven't had a chance to review it yet.
But 365 is a good round number to start.
Yes.
Okay,
And the site work for that was,
like 700
725 or something like that.
3 years ago.
right,
How many square feet is this latest proposal?
It should say right in the bottom right-hand corner.
Probably
Get your magnifying
seven.
glass out.
I'm sure it does, but I can't see it.
9,080
85,
square feet, with 510 of that being mezzanine.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the mezzanine is not considered square footage, so it's 8570.
8570 times 365, who's the mathematician?
Tim's
Get their
up on
calculators out.
4 something.
3.128.
Plus a million.
So,
What is it?
There's a lot
128.
of other things that are
Oh,
included that are not included.
Plus, right, site work plus.
This-
$5 to $6 million.
hooking up
It's 6 if it's a nickel.
utilities.
I believe there's design fees that aren't included yet. There's, trying to read the list of things that aren't included in that. The financing fees, construction manager fee, which I think is usually around 7%.
Yeah, and then we'll have to have a clerk, our own
Our own clerk of the.
special
Yep.
inspections or whatever they call
Yes, the district will hire that person. And then it doesn't, he put in, he says we should account for 12.5% for 2.5 years for inflation. And then also a contingency of anywhere from 5 to 20%. And he's recommending 20 right now, of course. I think that, because he said there's a lot of uncertainty on building construction material costs right now.
It's true.
He has, until we actually put it out to bid, we really won't know what the cost of some of these materials are.
That's a nickel, it'll be 6 million.
it. Right, but they're still gonna give us a GMP, right?
Yes,
But that's further down the road. when all the
we'll know the
decisions are made.
GMP before the end of this year. I hope to know the GMP by September or so. Because once we settle on a final design, they're gonna bring in MEP and civil will really hammer it out, and then they'll get their estimators to start sending out that kind of stuff.
Okay, do you want to verify that the list that the chief gave Lorero was addressed properly, or do you want to have more discussion about this before we vote on making it final?
So we lost, we didn't lose anything because we never had it, but we reduced the size of the apparatus area.
Yes, we cut one bay out of it and a storage area out of it.
One bay being 12 feet wide,
Close to
correct me.
20 feet by 86. That included the storage area.
Now, can you add on, if down the road, will we be able to add on to that?
If it's designed to be done, yeah.
I guess we'll have to let them know that,
Maybe
so there's enough room on the property.
Yes.
if it ever had to be.
You know, it's just gonna upset the farmer's market, don't you?
Taking their mind away.
This,
They'll find
there's
the
still,
spot.
there's still,
They're gonna do
They
it
can be,
downtown when
farther
they take
back.
down Center Street after that. We'll be all here
Really?
in the parking lot.
I hate to say it, but if you're gonna need that extra bay, you should build it now.
That's where I'm going, I'm wondering
But
what,
That
where,
is, the
the
Bay
cheapest
Area
square
is the
footage.
least expensive, this is the most expensive. So we've already fine tuned this. A while back, I guess we cut a bay.
I wonder-
no, I don't think we ever voted on cutting a bay. What we discussed is, what would it look like without it? I know, we had a little bit of an exercise last week. Let's see if we can fit everything we own into this plan and Center Street Fire Station. I didn't bring all my cutouts for that.
Right.
That doesn't fit.
So that was basically option B, correct? Option B had the additional,
Option B had the bay with the storage area on it. Option C was this, and this is option D, the two-bay version of option D.
Could we get like a rough estimate, cost-wise as to like how much more it would be to have a third bay versus 2 bays?
Yes, I did ask him that question. I says, what's the cost to construct in here versus here? And he gave me numbers that were really close to, well, not real close together, but close together, and I goes, does that include like the storage, the EMT room and all? And says, yes. I said, no, just garage space. What's just garage space cost? He says, well, I'll have to work that number up again. So, and he was out of the office today, so he couldn't give me that number.
Well,
So
if
it
you
looks
added,
like-
if you added 18 feet on by 80, and then multiplied it by 265, it's 525,000.
Yeah, but that's the long side of it, because this is a huge factor in that big number per square foot. This isn't.
right, it's just an average, that 365 is an average. right?
So I mean, we're really just adding
It's less than that.
88 feet of wall and then 2 garage bays.
Actually,
Obviously, the
you're
roof
only
would be-
adding
You're adding
40 feet of wall. Well, really, it would be one door and 40 feet of wall, or maybe, well, because the other one had doors at the small garage door for the storage area, and then a full-size 14-foot by 14-foot door. at the
And then
other
you're
end.
adding
So-
your roof structure, but that's.
And you're adding roof structure. That's all you're really adding.
I mean, concrete for like the foundation and the floor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you're adding
Well, the
additional.
slab,
The
yeah,
slab,
everything else is similar.
yes. And I don't know which way the trusses run, but, because I don't
We
think
don't know the roof.
I don't know the roof line or
Well,
what their
yes,
design
we
on
do,
that,
right?
yeah.
Because we don't want the water coming over the doors, right?
Yeah.
So do we
I
want
know,
to? Go ahead.
I know we haven't discussed Back Street in detail yet, but is the proposed wellness area in both of these the same size?
Yeah, I think we reduce.
Let's see, the Park Street one is,
Park Street is 531 square feet. This one is 547 square feet.
so,
About this.
about the same.
I mean, we could make it smaller,
Why
but
can't
that
we-
space would just go into the day room
Why
kitchen.
can't we pull one of these wellness centers out of one of the buildings?
Because people don't travel back and forth to work out in between stations.
But they would if that wasn't there, wouldn't they?
No,
Then we could
no,
make
because
curtains.
then you're taking your people out of their response district for longer periods of time than they need to be.
What about when they all come down here to train? What happens then?
Well, training is one thing, where it's, you know, sometimes you have to train together, but you don't have to exercise together. And a lot of the training that we do is done online now. It's only when we're doing the actual physical training for, you know, stretching hose lines and stuff like that, where we do that at our training facility. But most of the other training that we're doing, you know, medical training or, you know, classroom type of stuff, that's done through our Fire Rescue One Academy, and it's all online.
Well, let's ask our full-time firefighter, Derek.
Mhm.
So in Londonderry, they had 20 by 16, 320 square feet.
Mhm.
They had, I think there were 3 machines in there. Now, I think they queried one of the firemen and he said that gym should be larger.
Yeah, they
But-
could not have 3 people work out.
But they didn't have 3 people in the day room, they didn't have 3 people in the kitchen, they didn't have 3 people in the lounge chair out in the high bay either.
Yeah, well, I was told that they all scattered because we were touring to that day, which is why there was one in.
Well, again, let's go back to Derek and have this conversation based upon the pretense that Kevin brought up, which is the other station being the main station will probably have a wellness center also. So what's Derek's opinion?
My opinion. Let's put the wellness center in the apparatus space, but.
Do what?
Put the wellness center in the apparatus space, but that's my opinion.
We can't,
Not allowed to.
not anymore. They're filthy. The current space that we use behind the apparatus in the Center Street station is nearly 500 square feet of exercise space.
Could you repeat that, please?
The current space that we have for our exercise area is nearly 500 square feet.
Is that large enough for everyone who's there at one time? Are there any issues with the current workout space, I guess is the question?
No.
No,
Other than the location.
other than it's behind the trucks where it's not supposed to be. Because that's a dirty area.
Okay, so it's similar, we're proposing 60% square footage, right?
Yes.
But I think Kevin's point is we're proposing it twice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we're
the issue
proposing,
is this,
we're
if someone
proposing
is.
2 kitchens too, and 2 living rooms
Yeah.
and multiple bedrooms and multiple bathrooms.
Yeah,
if
we're
you-
building
Right.
2
Two
stations.
spaces.
We're not building
Stations.
1
Right.
station. 'Cause I mean, as far as response time, if even, you know, only one firefighter is, you know, at Park Street working out during their shift, instead of, at this station, get alone like 2 or 3, because if you need a spotter, maybe 2 guys head down, then they can't respond to a call as quickly.
Well, as we discussed, we can shrink that one room, but how does that affect the overall square footage? It may be, your question, Kevin, may be a precursor to reducing the size of the one at Park Street. Because if we say Sanborn Road is acceptable in all other facets, and we reduce that wellness room, does it really buy us anything? Or could we make a portion of it storage or something like that? I see 11 pieces of equipment in each of them, and it just seems extravagant, but again, I'm gonna lean on Derek because he's the one that uses it. He knows how it gets used. Personally, my personal feeling is, if you want to work out, go to Planet Fitness. But
Don't they do like,
it's not only for physical fitness, it's for mental fitness, and that's another big part of, firefighting today. EMS delivery service today. It's not just about the physical part of your body. The workouts are good mentally too. It relieves a lot of the stress of what you have to go through. It's a very, very important part of the building.
and as far as cost goes, I mean, we could build the room, not pay for any workout equipment, and like scavenge it off
The
Facebook
fire
and fill it
department
over time.
hasn't paid for any of the workout. We've gotten it all through grants or donations.
Or we bought,
Oh, they personally bought it.
personally bought the stuff.
Yeah, the fire district hasn't purchased anything.
So this
Since
is probably
we
one of the
started-
lowest cost spaces in the building then.
It's an empty room. We're providing the firefighters an empty room in which to put their exercise equipment in.
We've already shrunk it several times, right, over the iterations, so, you're trying to shrink it again?
And making
Here
it
I'm
10%
trying
smaller
to
isn't
get Derek.
gonna get
I
us
think you
over
should
the-
leave it.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
thank you.
Like, that's one thing I would not cut out of the station, is that.
Okay.
Would you rather lose the kitchen over the workout space because you can just order takeout?
Sure, yeah. Sure. Or, I mean, then what's gonna happen, you cut that out, there's gonna be workout equipment in the apparatus bay.
Yeah.
100%.
Just like how there wasn't enough storage in Londonderry, so there was stuff stored in mechanical rooms that shouldn't be, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, they had stuff stored everywhere.
All right, so with that being said, where do we stand on that Sanborn Road layout? Do you want to accept this, or do you want to postpone it until we hear more about a third bay?
Can we accept the living space?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the living space is as good as we're going to get.
So they can price out, now the living space is the most intricate portion, so they can price out this option D as they've proposed, and then just add that other bay that was in option B, and tell us the difference in price,
I like that.
just so we have
Yes.
a feel for it. You visit it.
Do I hear a motion in your future?
Yes. Okay, so my motion would be to accept the living space as we've discussed, as shown on this option D. Did they put a date on it? 6/2. They did put a date. Perfect. And to request them to give us an estimate between this and the extra space shown in option B for the apparatus space.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? And
Well, the one problem with the way you worded it is, this option B has more than 18 feet added on, because it has 14 for a bay door plus 8, because they've got a main door on the front of the building. And then do we need the separate walled-in storage area with the mezzanine over it when we have the mezzanine on the right-hand side?
Well, you'd only have one or the other. You
So
wouldn't have
should
both.
that added bay just be, a 14-foot door with another 4-foot divider between the existing door pushing the wall out, and then just have doors on both sides?
Yeah, I think
so
that's
what
fine.
you're saying is 14 feet plus,
Plus four foot of wall,
so that would be 18
18
feet.
feet with doors on either end.
And move the man door to the side, right?
Right.
Well,
Does that make sense?
we have a man door on the front and a man door on the side over here. So if we were to just
Well,
add another bay, we wouldn't need another door, would we?
Right, that's what I'm saying. You don't want them to add, this is drawn, because we
Yeah.
don't need that, we don't need that.
Yeah, we're essentially just saying, hey, take
Just
this
move this
space
wall
here.
over 18 feet and put 2 more doors on.
So it's 18 feet.
So right now, it's like this, just add this, like to here. And move this door over here.
If
I
you
understand-
need that
Well,
second
we
door.
don't need that door because we have a door over
Yeah.
here.
I understand what you're saying. I don't, the doors, if he throws a door in the drawing, we can get rid of it, it's not a big deal.
Well, the door's probably gonna be mandated by
Codes,
by
yeah.
code.
Yeah.
To make a room this big, you need this many doors.
But they can figure that out.
Yes.
I guess the other thing is they need to add the sprinkler room back.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? So this is a tentative final plan, right? This is a plan that we can start public outreach with. That's my goal, is to start encouraging conversation within the community. So this is a provisional final. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
What- We had an opportunity to discuss it before the vote, and you didn't discuss anything. Why did you vote no?
I voted no because it's only half a plan. I'm either all in or all out.
So what you're saying is don't do any public outreach,
Not with half a plan.
okay? Why didn't you say any of that during the discussion?
I don't think it's relevant when I knew that I was outnumbered.
Well, I wasn't thinking about the public outreach when we were voting, I was just,
Yeah.
Well, this is what we want now, this is provisional. And then down the road, oh, remember what we told you about provisional? Never mind, we changed our mind again.
I mean,
The look is terrible.
are there any rooms that we could eliminate functionally in the living space? I don't think so. I mean, the dorms have a legal minimum size, the bathrooms have a legal minimum size.
I don't think that's what Kevin's
Kevin's
saying.
saying, he
That's
said
not
this
what
is
he's
half the
saying.
plan.
saying,
we're not-
Yeah.
don't go to the public with a
With
half a
this half
plan,
plan.
is what he's saying, that we're not
Wait
to
till,
that
wait till we
point,
get
let's
that
get
next
our
revision
numbers.
and
Yeah.
then go, okay, that's the plan. Is
So-
that what you're saying?
Can we back that up?
It's the only thing that makes it, you have. You want someone to buy into a well-thought-out plan that at least gives them an inkling that we have an idea where we're going and what we're looking to get.
Right.
You keep changing your mind. It looks terrible. It looks terrible in these videos. If you watch the videos back to back to back, and you take snippets every time we change our mind, it's like Keystone Cops.
What was the reason we shrunk down the bay size, what, 3 meetings ago? Because Deputy Robinson came in here and said, make it smaller, right? And now we're gonna make it bigger again?
Well, I'm just saying, I think that I fear we are short-sighted. We may be short-sighted by cutting the cheapest thing to build off now, when it's cheaper now than it's ever gonna be.
Yeah.
Because, and I like that Master Daddy, is that gonna be able to add on? Is that what you said? I like that, but when you are paying on a $15 million bond, and you go to the public and say, oh, guess what, boys? We need some more money, we can make it a little bigger, you know what you're gonna get, right?
Why do you make it bigger the first time?
You know.
Well, I think that's why we were asking for the price difference. So I guess what I didn't realize is that in your wording, you were saying we'll go to the public with this.
Yeah,
I think we're always sitting here with this back and forth, you know, what is the total dollar number that the public's gonna be accepting of? And, you know, keep thinking that, you know, these buildings are so large, that dollar number's gonna be unacceptable. So how do we get what we need for the best price, so we can offer a good value to the voters? And that's why we're, you know, shrinking rooms here, and do we really need that? But you're right, I think it puts us all, you know, we say we look like the Keystone Cops, but if we weren't worried about the money aspect till later, and we just were trying to build the right buildings, we wouldn't be having as much of that back and forth.
But if you cut 500 out of here, and then we get to Park Street and there's 500, or you cut out of there, I mean, that's $1 million at the end of the day.
Right.
So,
But I mean, if we're looking at, you know, a $12 to $15 million plan, and, you know, people don't even want to pay, you know, 6 or 7 for a single station, and it's, you know, you might have cut $1 million, but
But, I
it
mean,
might not
as
make
it
the
sits,
difference.
the vote was taken, and it passed.
What?
The
I
vote-
think the vote was just about
I thought the vote
accepting
was
this.
about this.
I
we
think
were
it was
waiting for
after
this.
the fact that Paul added about, like,
Going to the
publicizing
public
it.
with. I think we voted and accepted the living space, or it was the apparatus phase that we're asking for pricing on, and we all agreed that we were gonna ask for that.
Yeah, so
I don't
I think
think
we
we-
definitely need to know what the cost would be for the living space with 2 bays versus the living space with 3 bays to make a decision there.
We didn't need to have a vote, we could have waited until our next meeting when we got those results back.
Right, you're, okay,
Yeah,
yes.
I guess
So
we don't need it, yeah.
what we've agreed upon is the living space on Sanborn Road. So that's gonna remain unchanged, right?
Yeah.
Is that? And the only question is gonna be on the High Bay area.
Yep.
So the public outreach was not part of the motion or the vote.
Oh,
So we will,
that's why he voted no.
No, it's only half a plan.
Right, so you were saying
We-
don't go to the,
We got this,
oh,
what does that amount to, that we got that? It's incomplete.
Well, and it's also hard to go do public outreach when you go, all right, I can do the 365 map, and I can add in the 3-year-old site work estimate. Well, then there's all these other costs. So what is the real amount?
You don't know.
Somebody gonna watch the tape and go, oh, they said $3 million, and it comes out to be $6 million.
I mean, we could just do public outreach about the idea in general of building a station at Sanborn Road and demolishing Park Street and rebuilding a 2-story station there, and
well,
just
I
get
think that
feedback from the public.
conversation has already been had in both directions, right? That's what the survey provided us with feedback, and that's what we've been told in every aspect of every project we've proposed.
Right, but since the survey, we haven't told the public, hey, we're thinking of building 2 stations, one over here, and demoing and building a 2-story station at Park Street. So if you want to do public outreach, we could start doing some form of, you know, getting people's opinions without any specific plans or
Well,
cost
why-
attached to it.
Opinions of what?
Why don't we
The
set
idea
the-
of building two
When-
stations, I guess.
Why don't we set the public outreach aside for now, concentrate on Park Street? And when we get a more thorough total plan, we'll talk about public outreach. So Park Street, we're up to option E.
Just like this.
Do you have an updated, no, I'm sorry, E?
E is the latest.
Okay.
I think I passed
I
those
saw one
out.
today.
Is that dated
Same
five,
one as
Yeah.
five, 5/14?
Yeah,
5/14.
I have one must be
There
upstairs,
should
one
be
must be
two pages, a first floor and a second floor.
What was the date of the update?
Update with the upstairs.
yeah, they haven't seen that
Oh,
yet.
okay. Sorry for the big reveal.
Okay. I
So
wanted
we
to
have a-
discuss what we have in front of us before, oh, how come I'm a pen?
So do we have an option F?
It's not labeled that, but yes. Given our discussion of Sanborn Road, I had a long conversation with our designer, architect, I don't know what his official title is. I suppose I could look at his email and see what it says, but I says, we need to shrink Park Street as much as possible. And during our discussion, we realized that basically the first floor is set in concrete. We really can't change the first floor, and we've gone over it a couple times without affecting the flow pattern drastically. But I said, well, we could make, the bedrooms smaller, like we did on Sanborn Road, and maybe the training room could be smaller, and I asked him to work on that. And he just sent me this plan, and I can pass it out to you. So does everybody have the current E?
A101?
A101.
Mine's dated 5/14.
Mine was.
All right, let me find where they are.
Got any glass?
Yeah.
As far as the ground floor,
Yep.
do we need offices or can we set up a cube farm? Because that
No,
would be way
no.
smaller than,
Offices, you need offices.
do we
There's
just
too
need
many.
one office for
there's-
counseling and stuff?
Well, it's an administrative office.
Yeah. There's too many different things going on at the same time in the offices that we need to have our own spaces. A lot of different things going on all at the same time. It just doesn't make sense to have a cube space. Yeah, it would be crazy, it would be totally crazy. Because there's 3 or 4 of us on the phone all at the same time, discussing, fire prevention plans. We gotta schedule a training for fire extinguisher training. I'm talking with the water district about the latest problem that you guys don't even know about. And Kathy's on the phone talking to HR with Primex. We need our own offices.
I mean, when I was last in, an office building in Boston, we just had desks, they got rid of cubicles because there wasn't enough space in the building to have cubicles and the people that they wanted, so we got less space than the cubicle would give you, and we'd have 8 people working on a table this size essentially, which was not ideal, but I mean, headphones for calls and stuff like that. I mean, if we're really trying to get
There's too many times where I have to have conversations of confidential nature,
We have
not only
privacy
with
issues.
personnel,
Yes.
but with residents of the district. That, you know, they come in here and they speak to me in confidence, and I don't want anybody to hear what's going on. I close the door.
The only people you could put in cubicles would be your administrative assistants, if you had more than one.
Yeah,
So since you have one, she
Since
gets
we
her
have
own.
one, she's gonna have her
he
own
gets
office, but-
the own office.
Yeah, the office manager's gotta have her own office. The chiefs have to have their own office. You know, the captain, well, you only have one, so he has his office. You know, we've already put the firefighters in the duty room, in the day room with their computers. So they have computers.
no, I think the downstairs is well thought out, and I do have one concern, and that's in the decon room, where they put one of the there's 2 showers in the decon room, one of them is in the toilet room. And he's telling me it's due to ADA spacing requirements. And I'm gonna see if I can get a waiver on that, because we're not gonna be hiring any firefighters that require a wheelchair. And he's struggling with his ADA code.
Would an individual in a wheelchair even be able to meet the minimum fitness standards and tests and everything like
No.
that?
No.
Okay, yeah, that's,
Well, if that's the
That's
case,
what I
why do
assumed,
we need an elevator?
Because the cleaning lady might.
or the general public.
Well, the general
for doing
public,
something
we're not-
upstairs.
If you have a meeting room upstairs.
There's a meeting room upstairs.
Even if there wasn't a meeting room, you'd still need the elevator, it's crazy.
Yeah, Kevin, I went round and round with him on that as well, and,
I even asked about, well, like that station in Epsom, where you built it into the hill.
yeah.
So do you need 2 staircases inside? Because you can drive around the back of the building and come in and say, you still need 2
So,
staircases.
the station that we designed for the Tilton School property was a 2-story station where the second floor had access through a ground ramp. It still required an elevator.
How much was that station again?
It's ridiculous.
$4.9 million.
We're done.
Well, I guess if there was like a fire on the second floor where the ground ramp entrance
Yeah.
was, you'd need an elevator to get someone to
An
wheelchair
elevator
downstairs and then
additional
out.
stair- It also needed an
Good
You
additional
don't use an
Downsize that.
elevator during a fire.
Just make that.
Regular people
Save
don't,
more
but
road.
people who can't go downstairs use the elevator.
They use,
I
they
don't
use
think
the
so.
elevator
That's
lobby, hopefully, or the stairwell as an area of refuge, and that, the station has that as well, but.
All right, so,
Okay, back to the decon room. You said you had one concern. There were 2 showers there, one of them was in the toilet.
Right.
Where's the second shower?
it's in that little hallway.
Yeah, the little hallway to
Fine
the right,
see.
you can't
I
really,
wondered what the dead end hallway was. It's right here.
it's a hallway to nowhere.
Okay.
So you're anticipating getting a waiver and then they can reconfigure that space more
Yes.
appropriately? Okay.
Don't you feel like you're boxed in on this end of the building? Like, you've got this hallway that goes everywhere, but you're chief. In order to get out of the building, you have to go through a maze to get,
They don't need to go to the apparatus bay. They're gonna
okay, so they gotta go to the lobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a
Or
window,
you can go through
right?
the day room, or you can go through the wellness center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right, I didn't see that,
It
yeah.
was one of these
Okay.
main hallways.
Exit up here.
Right.
I was just wondering why there wasn't. There used to be.
On this wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed weird.
An exit on that. I would see that inside.
Yeah, so as he revises plans, sometimes he forgets doors or puts doors in. But once we get we'll fix the doorway things and the doorway swings. That's not my major concern right now.
Okay.
Well, so,
Okay.
as I'm looking at this, I think the street's out in the
Yes,
road.
you're the street.
From the left front corner, chief's office is your office.
Yes.
Deputy chief's office is Sean's office.
Yes.
administrator office is Kathy's office.
Yep.
Code enforcement office, whose office is that?
Sean?
Well, we have another person right now that's working part-time for us, but we're anticipating having another full-time person in that position at some point. Because the deputy's position, who's responsible now for code enforcement, operations and training, is too much for one person. We need to break off the code enforcement and have someone doing code enforcement. And right now I have a call firefighter is helping us do that 2 times a week. Our volume is just too much right now.
Code
And it's
enforcement of new construction.
New construction
Existing
and
construction.
Existing
uh,
construction. A lot of work.
I mean, any heating system installed in Tilton Northfield.
so it's a needed space. Right now it would be David George. That would be his office.
So is it safe to assume that we've already beat this drawing up enough?
Relative to site location, where is this compared to what we already have there?
A little bit to the left.
The current building would be.
The highway department's over here.
Yeah, the island, the highway department's over here. The island, it's enough so these folks can pull out and get by the island
Still be on
and still be on our property.
And this is the same size as what we have?
The apparatus bay, more or less, yeah. Yeah, 60 by 80, I think, yes. Ish.
I'll have to take off, but have a good evening, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nate.
See you, Nate. So, all in all, I'm very happy with the first floor design, other than that shower situation with decon, which I think we can. I have questions into the state on that as well.
So there's 46 turnout gear stations. Where did that number come from?
I think that was just the space that was available for them to put that in. We don't need that many, but the way the building is, I don't know how we can change it.
You wouldn't gain anything.
You need 16 for your current staff, plus chief and deputy chief. And then how many call
We
firefighters?
have 14 on the roster right now,
So you need
plus
32.
plus David. Oh, I forgot David George, 15. Yeah.
So you need 33 at least.
Any other comments on the first floor?
Well, I just hate that we have to have stairways and elevators for this project. But it is what it is, I guess.
So I asked them to do a comparison, what would it cost to make this into a single floor station and versus the 2-floor station. You save on the building, making it single floor because you eliminate the elevators and stairways, but you more than lose it on the extra work required for site work. The additional site work, not counting moving the transmission lines to the cell tower, is additional $350,000.
In addition to, after you've deleted the stairways and elevators.
Yes. And then you still have the cost of moving the transmission lines going to the cell tower, which he wouldn't get a price on it because he has to contact Eversource and other electricians and stuff like that. But he said it would probably be a couple $100,000. And probably move telephone poles and stuff like that. So he highly recommended the 2-story. So
Would we
And
have
we-
to lose the training facility back there because we'd need parking?
we wouldn't lose the training facility, but we would lose parking. Because currently with this design, the 2-story design, the area where the grass is now going up to the left of the fire station where it's all grass, kind of lower, that is parking in the new, because there's no parking available.
Is
on
that
our site
parking
now.
for staff or is that parking for?
It's parking for administrative staff and on-duty staff and visitors. There's a small visitor parking area right at the front door for handicap and maybe 1 or 2 other spaces. So that would be like business customers
And you'd have
coming
to
in
have
for
enough
permits.
spaces for all the call firefighters.
Yeah, it's gonna be tight. Parking is extremely tight on this thing, unless we fill in some wetlands where they created some wetlands. They put a catch basin in right where the DPW ends. If you drive in the driveway to the right of the island, you go to the end of the building, there's a catch basin there that goes underground and comes out right by the shed that we have in the back, and then it's a ditch that goes to the rest of the wetlands. That ditch is now wetlands. Maybe we can get away with, putting a pipe in there and filling it in. We may be able to create parking back there. At what cost, I don't know yet, because I didn't talk to him about that yet. I was talking to him more about Sanborn Road and Park Street, the station things.
Yeah.
All right.
Does anybody have any questions or problems with the first floor design other than what I've mentioned?
Well, again, it's a situation where we can reduce the size of some rooms, but we've gotta have it reduce the overall size to be beneficial.
Well, these rooms are pretty much the size they need to be.
Did we already reduce this once, or this isn't our first crack
This-
at it?
this-
There you-
These have been reduced.
Right, right.
Yeah, we got rid of the bathroom.
Yeah.
And we shrunk the,
What I would suggest, if anything, is, you're correct, we don't need 40-something gear lockers. Taking some of that gear locker space and make it a storage room. Because although we do have a small mezzanine on this station, it is small, and we still need a place to put spare turnout gear that is not issued. We don't have and maybe that, we could take some of that space and make a storage area for that. But that's just that's an easy adjustment, I would say.
I'm having a hard time figuring out, like, what are the dimensions of the kitchen, day room, wellness? What's the front back dimension on that?
He didn't give me all the takeoffs where they have the measurements. He didn't.
Because one of the things I was thinking, if you took that back wall on the back of the building, across the kitchen, day room, and the wellness, you can move that in and reduce some square footage there. Same thing with that turnout gear. You know, you can take the wall on the stairway and move that over just a little bit and take the space out of the turnout gear. But again, you're talking, you know, is that 2 feet, is that 4 feet? It's not a lot of square footage. But as we were talking about, square footage on the first floor is dictated in the second floor to some point.
Well, there is,
Square footage on the second floor is really dictated by the first floor.
As I say, so if we
Right.
take some out of the first floor,
Then you're
Right.
well,
taking it out of
there's, for instance, there's 5 dorms plus a student dorm for 2 people. And there's 61 lockers.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
And there's storage out the wazoo right now.
yes.
I mean, if you took some of that 61 locker area and made that storage, then you have 350 square feet, plus you have 426
Well,
for chairs
But you
and
can't
tables.
shrink the upstairs. The
Right,
downstairs
but
size.
what Tim is saying is let's shrink the downstairs, take this
Yeah.
wall and possibly move it forward.
This back room.
This
Move,
one.
yes, move that stairwell, take some space out of here and
Cut this down.
some space out of there. So if we took 2 feet out of this, there's plenty upstairs where we can take 2 feet out.
Yeah, the upstairs I'm not worried about, the downstairs, if we take 2 feet out of the width, it would all come off the back side of the building, I would say. I'll talk to him about it.
Well, we don't have the dimension to those walls right now.
No.
Evidently not. But I see what you're saying, right here, move the stairway in, so is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
well,
Yeah,
Tim,
well, take
Tim-
2 feet out of the gear storage room, 2 feet out of the weight room, 2 feet out of the day room, and then you can move the whole stairwell 2 feet towards the front. If we can do that, I'll talk to him about it.
Well, you can move the whole stairway regardless, right?
oh yeah, just make the,
Make the
Move it.
make the outside wall of the stairwell be the same as the outside wall of
Well,
the
if
wellness.
that affects the upstairs,
Right,
so, yeah, probably.
it shrinks it.
Yes, it does.
can you take that much?
But
space out
that,
of
we
the turnout?
can't move it too much because the hallway upstairs and the hallway here, if you move the stairs towards the center, the upstairs hallway will not align with the fire pole. Which it has to.
move the fire pole.
You can't. Well, maybe you
Oh,
can.
you need a fire pole.
You maybe, no, what, you know what, Paul? Maybe you can. Maybe you can.
Right, so you have a new updated upstairs.
Yes. So you want to see that?
Yes, please.
I have some.
Big.
Yes, there.
How many copies of that?
I have plenty. I just have to find them in my mess here. Every time I come here, I end up making more of a mess, and then I have to go back to my office and say, "What did I do?"
Now, is this updated compared to what I got?
Yes, probably. Here, take this whole packet. I have both of them.
Yeah, because I still got that loose.
Matt, you're a couple of reps behind.
So that removes that 1,700 square feet from the second floor.
He did this in one night, so he did relate to me
That's
that
interesting.
it may need some tweaks and adjustments, so the square footage. And of course, then he said, the MEP people haven't looked at this yet. And so there might be some minor adjustments to it.
What are the lockers for upstairs? You have-
Well, the guys, to this point, have said they wanted the lockers out of the bedrooms. So that's why the lockers are there. But I'm looking at as potential, because picture this, say this gets all built, and we're 20 years down the road from now, and we need more men in our headquarters. Like we have a full-time dedicated ambulance, we're not splitting. We can turn this into another bedroom here, because there's too many lockers there, you know? We can take one and turn it into a bedroom.
There's no lockers in Sandwater, is there?
No
They're
lockers
in the
are
bedrooms. They're in the lockers are in the bedrooms.
Okay.
Which is what I personally prefer, but I'm not working, I'm not sleeping there. The guys are sleeping there, and so I asked them what they want.
So why do they want the lockers separate from the bedrooms in one station?
Because
You might
when
not
they,
be
because when they work overtime at
adding a
night,
room.
you may not have your regular room, and then you may be sleeping in another
It's
person's
just
bed.
easier. It's just
And so
getting
it's
dressed
easier
in
to
the
get
morning.
this stuff.
I come in at 6 o'clock in the morning, somebody's not out of their
Still
room
sleeping.
yet, I can't get in my locker, and it's just easier to have a
Makes
locker room.
sense.
So there's
Then why
two,
not do it that way in Sandwater?
You can,
we have to add a locker room.
just ask for it to be at Park Street Station.
So does this just cut roof space?
Yeah, that just cuts the roof off. So it makes it a shed there. Instead of,
They originally had rooms up there.
yeah, so
It actually deleted quite a bit of square
this
footage.
is what it looked like originally.
Yeah, that's this one here,
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
I see a training room.
So why would you have this long hallway across the back?
I asked them,
Training room? Why would-
I haven't had a chance to talk to them about that, because I got all this stuff.
Why wouldn't the
like
hallway
this.
just go through the training room?
That's one of my questions.
Leave it all open so that it's,
More open, yeah. I have to talk to him about it, and I couldn't talk to him
you
today.
need the egress, but
He was doing a site visit today, him and Brian Worsham, who, the two gentlemen I'm working with on this project. So they weren't really available to talk today. Yeah, this is one night, so I have questions about it that. Yeah, but Paul, you're right, and if we can take 2 feet off the back wall, I think we can make that work.
So this return would be 4 feet?
No, you
I
just
think I'd take that,
move it all this
so
way.
it would be from here.
So that it'd be one straight wall, you're saying?
No, it'd
No.
still be jogged,
What?
but you take the 2 feet here and here and move everything this way. But then on the first floor, you have to make sure you move, because that moves this hallway. You have to make sure you move the fire pole hallway thing. I'll let him figure it out. You know, they'll figure it out.
Well,
I do enough work for the architect now. I want a kickback.
Well, I like this because there's significantly less storage, which I think we have an abundance of. And the whole training room with the divider and everything, that I think came about, the size of that, because we were projecting the first floor footprint onto the second. So this looks like a solution where we don't have gigantic storage areas, yet we still have a significant amount of storage.
So what this did is, remember we talked about 2 bathrooms outside the meeting room? There's only 1 bathroom. So, you know, given the time frame that he did this in, I think he did a good job, but I think it needs work. Like, I don't know, I don't get the hallway thing.
Back here,
Yeah, I don't get, I don't believe we need an elevator hallway.
Right, could, and I don't know code-wise, but could this whole wall and this whole wall go away? And
That would be my suggestion.
when you come out of the elevator, you're just in the space?
Yeah, and I started to have that discussion with them, and we started going back and forth on codes, and,
you're in what space? You're in the training room?
Yeah.
yeah, you just, this,
I mean, this hallway going this way,
This,
yeah, this hallway is for egress. I understand that they gotta have, they're coming out the back. But it's like, why can't that just dump right into that room and walk through the room to get to the stairwell? Is that not allowed by
They go the
code?
first call.
I don't know,
Nap, 6 Nap Road, so they'll be in and out of there.
yeah.
I mean, it might be required by code, but
Even if it is, you can, even if you do require an elevator thing, just stop, you know, make it here and get rid of all this.
right.
It's just, yeah, you get rid of both those walls, I mean, at the end of the day, your meeting room could be bigger too.
To be run right.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't want the bathroom opening right to the room, you put the door over here facing the elevator.
Yeah.
I mean, this little,
I started drawing on graph paper what I thought would be better appropriate, but I haven't gotten it to him yet.
well, I wish I knew the dimensions downstairs, because, you know, we talk about taking 2 feet off, you know, could it be 4? You know, well, how much can it be? Can you take 4 feet out of that turnout gear room?
Maybe. But the other rooms, like the kitchen and the workout room,
Yeah. Can you take 4 feet out of that, out of that
I
wall or
think
not?
2 feet is probably max.
You know, all those jugs on the side complicate the roof line, but.
Yes.
Well, even if you, like it here, I don't, could you take enough room out of the turnout room to bring that wall over equal to that one? How wide's, I don't even know how wide the stairway is. Is that 5 feet? You have to take 5 feet out of the,
I'll talk to him about it.
no, I mean, no, I don't.
This week sometime I'll have time to talk to him.
All right, well, those are my suggestions.
So I'm sorry, I was writing notes during some of that conversation. The new option E, second floor, the stairwell goes up to a wall. Did we discuss that?
The stairway's coming up here. You're coming in.
What's this then?
This is the second.
That's, so when you come up from downstairs, you're coming up half of like the
To a
landing.
landing.
And then you can either go, or, it must be, this must be up. You're coming up from downstairs, or you're coming up from downstairs this landing.
So you can come up 2 ways to get to that landing downstairs.
But there's-
Is that correct?
From downstairs, there's 2 ways to get up to the
Right.
landing.
So you get up to the landing, like this, right?
And then you go up upstairs.
So this is going up, this is going,
Yes, this is going up from the first floor.
to the landing. This is going up.
No, that's going down. No, that's not there.
You're on the second floor first.
Second.
Yeah.
So this wall can be here?
Well, no, because
There's no stairs, you're standing under, when you're downstairs, you're going up.
Right.
So there's nothing here upstairs,
it's just,
correct?
right, it's just open to the
It's
staircase.
just open to the staircase.
I understand your intent, I'll let him figure it out. Because if we try to figure it out, we're not.
So what they were trying to do, this might make it easier to see it, is if you were coming down from the second floor, one of these two, whichever one's down, you would come to a landing,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there you could go down to the first floor to the apparatus bay, or down to the first floor to the hallway.
Okay.
So what we were trying to correct for in the original drawing was, if you were coming downstairs to say go to the kitchen, you'd have to go out into the apparatus bay and then down the hallway. And then, so if you change the stairway to empty the hallway, then you'd have to come down into the hallway and then go here to get to the apparatus bay.
Right.
And that was the solution the architect came up with, to try to, there's no good solution. I sat there and thought about it. If you did this, you did this.
Believe me, I've been thinking about it as well.
You know, and then you have to have a way out of that stairway to the outside, so you have a door.
And then he talks to me about, you know, the ADA codes and the decon room and stuff like that, because I gave him a better design for a decon room, because that doesn't meet the ADA code, and if I do that, to meet the ADA code, I have to move the stairwell out this way or that way, or something like this. I says, I'll talk to you later about that, because I'm going to the state.
Why does the decon have to be ADA?
Right.
It's
I-
It
practical.
don't make any sense.
It does not, to me. And I'm all for having ADA accessibility to the building for the public, but we're not hiring firefighters that need wheelchairs. It's never gonna happen.
It's not even practical.
We'll be using robots before that happens.
So what questions are you bringing back to the architect, Chief?
On this floor plan, on the Park Street,
Yes.
moving the rear wall from the apparatus bay all the way across through the kitchen area as far in as we can, 2 to 4 feet, hopefully, and making it all align. That's really the point of it right there.
And
We'll make them align everything so it works.
is everyone comfortable with the outline of the new second floor, Sergeant?
No, I think as the chief stated, he had a lot of questions
I
and they
don't-
were still working.
I mean, the outline of it.
Oh,
like
the general side,
Yeah.
making the left side of the building a shed
Yes,
rather than a full second story.
right.
I don't know what it saves, but it saves you square footage, floor space, and, you know, finish area, I guess.
1,700 square feet is what it saved. And again, I think a lot of that floor space on the second floor, we were just trying to fill it.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, there's a lot of storage area there that we probably didn't need. It'd be probably better off taking it out of that building and putting it over in Singapore Road, but
So you're gonna fine tune this new proposal?
yes, it needs fine tuning. I think the outline of it is fine, but it does need fine tuning.
Okay,
But the first floor, we'll look to see how much we can reduce the width, you know,
right.
at least
Front
2
to
feet.
back.
Yeah, at least 2 feet front to back. And we'll go from there. And I'll have something, as soon as I get something, I'll send it out, email. If you guys want to come in and get copies, so that, I know trying to look at it on my computer is not ideal. I like to look at it on paper. And if you want copies, just come up and see me, and I'll give you a piece. Or if you want me to drop it by your house or whatever, I can do that too.
Is everyone comfortable with that game plan?
Yeah, I mean, we want to see the revised plans to the board.
Yeah, as soon as
I'm
possible. I do
interested in
too.
their roof lines, and do we save,
We're not,
do we
we're
save
not
a
gonna,
lot?
s-
Do
they're
we
not,
save
they,
a lot?
yeah, they're not going to, give us any elevation drawings until we lock down the floor plans.
Then they hand it off to somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know how much we
Is it
save
assumed
by
that the
that.
second floor will be poured concrete?
I don't know anything is assumed.
I mean,
What
the
would you,
floor,
the floor,
Oh, like
I don't know.
Metal pan.
metal pan and then poured concrete and, radiant floor heating or something like
Is that
that?
how you would heat it? I mean, is that how you would build a building like this, or would it be?
That's
all
one of the
stick?
ways you can
It's
do
You
it.
can do it many
it's
ways.
Yeah.
What's the
That's
cost?
one of the ways.
There's pros and
You can
cons.
pour it, and
Cost.
you've got pre-stressed concrete panels.
Yeah, just lift it.
You could. Yeah. Is that less expensive than?
No,
No.
I would guess that the deck, the metal deck and a concrete floor is probably less than precast panels, but,
Is it more than a wood structure?
yeah, wood
Yes.
would be the least expensive.
Yes. There's still be steel required in that building for
Well, yeah.
structural steel.
Right.
Yeah, our building is all corrugated and then they poured concrete on the second floor.
It's probably a cleaner finish. Now, were we looking at materials, were we looking at block here as well?
I would say so, yeah. Split base block.
And even the interior walls would be block.
That's, I guess, an interior finish decision that we may ask what the options are. I know in the apparatus room, everything would be block. The living space, are you going with block walls or metal studs with sheetrock?
And what's the pros and cons, I guess, right?
You don't block anything,
You know,
you block everything.
Well, so if you're gonna do block on the second floor, then do you need to do a concrete floor?
You need to design your floor.
You need to
for-
design it appropriately.
You would not build a block wall on top of a wood floor structure,
No. It would be,
unless you hung it inside it. The typical is wall, floor, wall.
Right.
yeah. And I don't think all the
They
interior
don't all
walls line up
They don't,
that you would be able to do that. So, yeah, you would do a poured floor if you're gonna do block interior on the second floor.
Concrete with epoxy,
Yeah,
whole thing.
Makes it clean. It's easy to
Yep.
clean.
Closed it out.
I was surprised they had carpeting in their bedrooms.
yes,
Talk
I was
about-
too,
Talk
because
about allergies.
Germ
and
city.
just Dust mites.
there will be no carpeting in any of these buildings. None.
I mean, I know it's a hard floor, but.
You know what kind of germs we walk in?
So if you have a concrete floor with carpet on it, and you have a concrete floor with no carpet on it, and you bang your head in both places, you ain't gonna know the difference. You thump on that floor, it's, you're concrete all the way
I don't know why you
Unless
want
you-
to bang
unless you
your
get
head.
5/8 of
I don't know what
Omalon
they're
padding.
counting on. Okay.
Right?
Unless you get 5/8 of Omalon padding between the
Yeah.
carpet and the floor, yeah.
I mean, there's no
Which you're not
reason
gonna
to.
do.
We're not gonna do
Other
that.
than to hold germs and
That's the reason not to have.
allergens, right. Yeah,
It's like this.
yeah, this, I can imagine what's in here.
This isn't concrete though.
No, it's wood, but you could do this on concrete if you wanted to, and I
No,
would,
Yeah, but then you're
I
paying
wouldn't
to
even do
clean
that.
it all, nah.
no.
Okay, so the chief has direction for the railroad, and is there anything else we need to discuss tonight? Our next meeting is June 23rd at 5:30.
We have confirmation for this one at that time?
We'll have revised plans for this.
No, on our next meeting, do we have, is it here?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the 4th.
I don't know what I said,
Remember
but that's
we
what I
went-
meant.
The only thing that was different this month was, or last month, was because of the holiday, right? Isn't it always the 4th Monday? And then it's the
First or
1st or 2nd.
the second.
Tuesday's the 1st.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I
6:59.
just sent everybody something.
You think you did?
Yeah.
Think something like me. I'm
Lauren.
pretty sure he did that.
Is that
I was
I
trying
don't know
to,
where it went,
It's
but I'm pretty
blank.
sure I did it.
Is that what you're
I was
asking?
trying to put it in my phone.
Yes, I'm very blank tonight.
I think I
This
just
one?
added everybody.